today we're going to review the useful expressions that we've learned so far. So that's 1 through 26. I know some of you prefer motions, and I do too. So we're going to go back through these. We're going to stand up. We're going to learn some motions to accompany some. And then we're also going to just practice repeating them. So I need everyone to levántate. Please remember, you say the word after I do, so I'll say it, you repeat it. If I do a motion, you do a motion as well. We're not going to go through these as many times as we would new vocabulary. We're just going to go through them a couple of times a piece. So please repeat after me and do the motions as well. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. And we know that's good morning. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. So we have good morning, buenos dias. Good afternoon, buenas tardes. And good evening or good night, buenas noches. Next, I'm going to skip over a couple, but let's just go through pronunciation. Hola. Hola. Adios. Adios. And ciao. Remember, ciao is a new word for this year. It means bye. It's the same thing as adios, it's just less formal. It's like our bye. So for that one, we'll do ciao. Ciao. Next one, tengo is I have. Que irme, so I have to go. Tengo que irme ahora. Tengo que irme ahora. Tengo que irme ahora. That's I have to go now. Tengo que irme ahora. Muy bien. Again, we have numerous ways to say see you later, so let's just go over those for pronunciation purposes. Nos vemos. Nos vemos. Hasta luego. Hasta luego. Hasta pronto. Hasta pronto. And then we have see you tomorrow, see you Monday, see you Tuesday, and I'm not going to go through all of those. Just know that hasta, H-A-S-T-A, remember you never pronounce the H in Spanish. Hasta literally means until. So when we say hasta luego, it means until later, but we say see you later. Okay, moving on. ¿Cómo te llamas? We know is asking someone, what is your name? We have two different what is your names in our list. One is formal and one is informal. We know that the to form is informal. That's how you would ask someone your age or someone familiar to you what their name is. And we know that because it ends in an S. So it's ¿Cómo te llamas? And then the formal is ¿Cómo se llama usted? And that's how you ask someone older than you or that you do not know at all. Someone that you would not be on a first name basis with. That's how you ask them what their name is. And then in response, we would say me llamo. My name is. Me llamo. And your name. Me llamo Señor Pope. So if I were to ask you, what is your name? I would say, ¿Cómo te llamas? And you would respond, me llamo, your name. If you were to ask me what my name is, you would say, ¿Cómo se llama usted? And I would respond, me llamo Señor Pope. Okay, moving along. Mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. We know that means nice to meet you. Mucho gusto. Muy bien. And then igualmente, I don't really know a good motion for that, but igualmente is same here or same to you. Igualmente. Igualmente. Mucho gusto. Igualmente. Mucho gusto. Igualmente. Excelente. Okay, if you want to ask what someone else's name is, we use the same form as the formal what is your name, because remember he, she, and formal you all have the same verb ending. So instead of saying como se llama usted to ask someone what your name is, we would say como se llama él, what is his name, or como se llama ella, what is her name. Como se llama él, what is his name. Como se llama ella, what is her name. And then in response, you would say él se llama, his name is, or ella se llama, her name is. This should be a big review of Spanish 1, but I want to make sure that we're all clear on all of these useful expressions. Okay, moving along. We have a couple of ways to ask how you are, or how someone is doing. Again, this is a review. You know there's a formal you and an informal you. So, como estás would be how you would ask your friend, your neighbor in class, your siblings, people like that on a first name basis, how they're doing. So I would ask you, como estás? And you have a plethora of ways to answer. You would ask me, como está usted? Because that's formal and you're not on a first name basis with me. And that's a very vague differentiation between the to form and the usted form. If you're on a first name basis with someone, you use the to form. If you're not, you use the usted form. For example, your pets, we would use the to form. With your principal, you would use the usted form. And that's just a matter of respect. ¿Cómo está él? ¿Cómo está ella? ¿Cómo está la muchacha? ¿Cómo está el pobrecito? Anything that's third person singular, you're going to use the third person singular form of está. Moving along. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? This is how we ask, how's it going? It's another way to ask ¿Cómo estás? But the difference is you don't have to change verb forms, because tal is not a verb. It's just what we call an idiomatic expression. It does not directly translate. So ¿Qué tal? Is another way to ask ¿Cómo estás? How are you doing? How's it going? Etc. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué tal? Is how's it going, or how are you? ¿Qué pasa? Is what's up, or what's happening. What's up or what's happening is more informal. And a great response to that is sin novedad. Sin novedad. Nothing much. Sin novedad. A good response, but a very Spanish 1 level response to ¿Cómo estás? Or ¿Qué tal? Is bien, gracias. Bien, gracias, which means I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine, thanks. Bien, gracias. But our next word on our list gives us a whole list of adjectives to respond with. You're not always bien, so let's go through a few of those, and there are motions for these. Estoy bien. Estoy bien. Estoy mal. Estoy mal. Estoy así. You can also just say así. Estoy cansado. Estoy cansado. Estoy triste. Estoy contento. Estoy contento. Estoy enfermo. Bleh. Estoy enfermo. Bleh. Estoy enojado. Estoy enojado. Estoy emocionado. Estoy emocionado. Estoy nervioso. Estoy nervioso. Estoy asustado. Estoy asustado. So, just a quick recap in inglés. Estoy bien, I am well. Estoy mal, I am doing poorly. Así, I'm alright. Estoy cansado, I'm tired. Estoy triste, I'm sad. Estoy contento, I am happy. Estoy enfermo, bleh, I'm sick. Estoy enojado, I am mad or angry. Estoy emocionado, I'm excited. Estoy nervioso, I am nervous. And estoy asustado, I'm scared. Okay, moving on. So if someone asks you ¿Cómo estás? And you respond with one of these emotions, you, instead of having to ask ¿Y cómo estás? Or ¿Y qué tal?, you can just simply say ¿Y tú? Or ¿Y usted?, depending on who asked you. So if I ask you ¿Cómo estás? And you reply with Estoy cansado, you could ask me ¿Y usted? And I could say Estoy emocionada. So ¿Y tú? Or ¿Y usted? is just a simple way to say and you formal. Moving along. ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? So we're just going to do simple motions. ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? So let's repeat that. ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? ¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono? And you would respond, mi número de teléfono es. Mi número de teléfono es. And then you would obviously include your number. So I would, if you were to ask me, ¿Cuál es su? Because it would be formal. ¿Cuál es su número de teléfono? I would respond, mi número de teléfono es 478-216-7673. Moving along. These tener expressions are other ways to say that it is literally things that we have, but in English we say what we are. Okay, so instead of using a star, these expressions use tener. Tengo sed. Tengo sed. Remember, the more ridiculous the motions, the more likely you are to remember them. So tengo sed means I am thirsty. It literally means I have thirst. Tengo sed. Tengo hambre. Tengo hambre. So tengo sed means I am thirsty. Tengo hambre means I am hungry. Literally, I have hunger, but we don't say that. Tengo sueño is another way to communicate. Estoy cansado, you can use either one. Tengo calor. Tengo calor. Tengo frío. Tengo frío. Tengo miedo. Tengo miedo. Another way to communicate, estoy asustado. Tengo miedo literally means I have fear. And lastly, tengo los hipos. Tengo los hipos. I have the hiccups. Okay, to ask someone where they are from, we ask ¿de dónde eres? Or ¿de dónde es usted? The de is the from, and just like in English, you cannot end a sentence in a preposition. So it's from where are you? ¿De dónde eres? Formal, ¿de dónde es usted? To respond, we would say soy de McDonough. Soy de McDonough. I am from. Remember, we use ser because this is our nationality. Same concept with de donde es él or de donde es ella. We just changed the form of the verb or the subject. Almost finished. ¿Dónde vives? ¿Dónde vives is asking where do you live? Vivir is to live, so if we conjugate vivir in the to form, it's you live. ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? Or ¿dónde vive usted? Where do you live? Formal. Yo vivo en McDonough, Georgia. I live in McDonough, Georgia. Yo vivo en McDonough, Georgia. Okay. ¿Dónde vive él? Where does he live? ¿Dónde vive ella? Where does she live? This should be a review to you. Last thing, remember in Spanish when we talk about age, we talk about how many years we have, which uses the verb tener. So if you want to ask your friend or someone that's familiar to you, how old are you? You ask, how many years do you have? So that's ¿cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And you would respond with the yo form, obviously. Tengo 18 años. I am 18 years old. Literally, I have 18 years. So remember, we don't use ser and a star to talk about age in Spanish. We use tener. So to ask someone how old they are, you say ¿cuántos años tienes? How many years do you have? And to respond, tengo, I have 16 años, 16 years. I hope this was of some use to you, and I hope it helped you to review these. Remember, these 26 expressions will be on your quiz Friday. So feel free to watch this video as many times as you need to go over the grammar, the pronunciation, or to use the motions. And if you need more help, please let me know. Remember, I will be at McDonald's tomorrow, which is Thursday, at 4 o'clock. Adios, clase.